What's up, guys? Thanks for coming by and watching the video. I really want to thank everybody that subscribed. Cause shit, man, when I started this channel, I didn't expect to even have one subscriber, let alone almost 20 now, about a month later. That's awesome. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. So, thanks again. Alright. I got a true story for you. A true skinwalker sighting by QueenOfHorror666. To start off this story, and to give a little insight about myself, I'm an 18-year-old female who grew up in Michigan and have lived in the country for as long as I can remember. And just for a heads up, this is a long story, so bear with me. Now, back to the story. On one particularly hot summer weekend, me and a couple of friends, including my boyfriend, let's call him Tony, and my older brother, we'll call him Brad, decided we were going to go camping for the weekend since it was such a nice warm week. Tony's parents had owned a cabin way out in Ludington, surrounded by a huge wooded area with a personal lake, no neighbors for at least 4 miles. But being stupid teenagers, we didn't really think about that. All we were ready for was to party like any normal teenagers would. Well, after being there for about 2 hours, our fun had got started. Tony's friends had brought tons of alcohol and weed, enough for the whole weekend so we wouldn't get bored, since we had no service on our phones and only had movies to watch from the TV. After it got around 12 a.m. and it was pitch black outside, we had a huge bonfire going. It was a total of 6 people, including myself and Tony. As we talked and laughed about upcoming events in our lives, we were so distracted that we didn't even notice that my brother had literally frozen his eyes onto one section of the woods. Mind you, we were all intoxicated and very high at the time. Eventually, our talking ceased when Tony realized his friend and my brother had an emotionless expression. "Hey dude, are you alright?" he asked Brad. Silence. Brad didn't reply or even make any movements that would indicate he heard him at all. After that, I started to get scared, as well as the other 2 girls there. It took a lot for my brother to act this way. Eventually, I was the first to catch on that he was excessively staring into a certain spot in the woods. I turned my head and followed his gaze to what he was staring at, and my heart dropped. There, right fucking there, was at first look a dog, or at least that's what I thought. I thought it was some person's dog that wandered off. But then my brain kicked in and I realized there wasn't a neighbor for miles. So how could there be a dog? My mind started to race while Tony still tried to get Brad to speak or even move. In one motion, this thing stood up tall. And when I say tall, I mean fucking gigantic. It had to be at least 6 foot tall. Everyone's seen it then. How could you not? The other 2 girls and the other boy with us gasped as they finally grasped why my brother was as still as a stick. No one moved for what seemed like hours. Tony was the first to talk. "No tail," he mumbled. No one heard what he said but Brad. And I swear to you when I say his eyes widened as big as pan saucers. That freaked me out immediately. "What did you say?" one of the girls asked. "It has no fucking tail," he hissed at her. My heartbeat stopped. He was right. There was no tail at all on this thing. Suddenly, my alcohol-clouded mind cleared up in a fraction of a second when I realized what this thing was. Now I understood why my brother was basically shitting his pants. This thing was a fucking skinwalker. My instincts kicked in right then and there. But before I could nope the fuck out of there, the thing let off a terrible stench like rotting meat before screaming inhuman-like. The sound was enough to scare the fuck out of everyone. My brother, he was the first one up and out of his chair. He started shouting native words to the creature while I told everyone to get the fuck inside. No one questioned me when they seen just how dead serious I was, especially Tony. He's never seen me so scared, so he knew it was a bad situation. We all hightailed it into the cabin with my brother in tow, still shouting native words at the creature, which seemed to keep it at bay, at least long enough to give us time to get inside. He slammed and locked the door before turning all the lights off and grabbing a special ash from the kitchen counters and started throwing it at every window and every door while chanting. Of course, he had everyone freaked out and basically in tears at that time. After he was done, no one said a word for a long time. All of us still in shock. He grabbed our dad's pistol and had it posted by him for hours. Everyone was entirely too shaken up to even question what happened. We must have fallen asleep eventually because I woke up to my brother packing all of our stuff into the 2 cars early in the next morning. I understood why. We had native family. We knew what we were dealing with, and we knew it would come back. Maybe not alone, too. Before we left, I did a blessing on the cabin and spoke a few calming words to the still very freaked out girls. We left as soon as everything was packed up. And believe it or not, we still haven't told our friends what happened that night and what we were dealing with. And they haven't even asked.